My name is Alexander Buster Deputie. Yes, Buster is my middle name. My grandma decided that it was a name that is very unique, and yes, it is unique. So I'm a husband. My beautiful wife, Cassie, right there, of 11 years, right? We've been almost 11 years. 11 years next month. Okay, and we have 10 children. 3 of them are with the Lord. Yes. And we will be seeing them soon. Hopefully, soon. So I was born and raised in Liberia. So we came here back in 1993. There was a civil war. Wasn't really a civil war. It was more like a genocide. People with guns pushed out people without guns. Go figure, right? So we left there. We stayed about 2 years in the neighboring country, which is the Ivory Coast. I was 4 at the time, so I have various memories of life when that civil war happened. I kind of have a memory of it, and to this day, it's still a motivating factor for me to be thankful that I live in this great country, right? So we left. We went to the Ivory Coast and stayed in the refugee camp for probably a week, 2 weeks. There we go, 2 weeks. A lot of my stories changed later because I was so young. So I kind of had it one way, but then asking my uncles and aunties, I'm like, am I right in this area? They're like, yeah, but you're wrong in these areas. So, yep. So we were there for about 2 weeks, and then we moved out and contacted my grandma when she was here. So we contacted her and told her everything, and eventually 2 years later, September 27, 1993, we came to America. And America is a place that people outside of this country want to come to. People fight to come to America. Rarely do I ever see anybody wanting to leave. And so we grew up dreaming of one day coming here and experiencing freedom, and so coming here for me was definitely one of the highlights of my life, and I definitely have a cherished memory for that. And so we came here, and I went through school. I got acclimated to the American culture, but in high school, my parents divorced. And that's where my life began to take a turn and, change. And I would like to come back to Liberia's history later on, because this actually plays into why I am running as an abolitionist. So that happened. My life turned, and I got saved, and someone took the time to disciple me. He spent time with me. He dragged me out of places that I shouldn't have been. He called me and made sure that I was not at those places, So he spent years and years just teaching me God's word. As much as I hated it, I knew that God was real, and there was no denying His love and that relationship with Him. So I basically grew, and I came to a church that teaches the Bible, beginning to end. But also, too, our pastor emphasized on us living it out, right? I'll check that later. All right. So emphasize living it out, but also encouraging us to basically exercise our giftings and our callings. And for me, that took years of trying to figure it out. Like, what is my gift and what is my calling? And but I knew that I was always drawn to history and politics. Just more so history, because I came from a nation where, everything was crazy. So I wanted to know more about my country history, but also know more about American history and what separates America from any other nation. So I started reading books, and eventually I read the Constitution. And I'm like, whoa, and that just blew me away. So I started falling in love more with God, but also with our Constitution, and so you fast forward many years later, I got married, I got kids, I started up my own business and all that, and I started going to the state capitol about almost 3 years ago, just on my own. I just started going because I started noticing that there was a shift within our culture really fast. I mean, I knew that it was always shifting, but the last couple of years have just been like, ugh, I'm like, whoa. So seeing that, I'm like, I started to go talk to my state representative. I got to know them very well. They got to know me very well, very comfortable. I was at all of their meetings. I started printing out their email letters and going there and asking them, like, hey, can you explain to me why you're doing this and doing that? And let's just say they just wasn't exactly excited about me. One of them saw me, and he literally, he saw me, he's like, oh. He just put his head down and he's like walking to me like, what now? Okay, so I knew I was being effective then, right? So, and the opportunity came up where my current senator was running on a post. And I actually tried to not answer that call. But the Lord was so faithful that he made sure that he had it covered, where somebody else told me the exact same thing that somebody else tried to earlier. So I'm like, okay, Lord, I am gonna do it, and so answering that call was just the Lord's way of just guiding me and directing me into a path that he already had for me. So, so here I am now. So why run as an abolitionist, right? I have conservative values. I get it, right? Why am I running as an abolitionist versus the pro-life movement, right? And those guys, you guys all know, about them. And I got to know them more when I was reading their survey letter for me. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, you guys are a joke, just reading it, I'm like, you guys are not serious about upholding God's law, right? God's standard. You're not. You guys are very interested in just legislating it and playing around. And it's almost like a game, or money is probably involved somewhere. I don't know, but it just seems a little fishy with, to me, but Liberia started as a nation of free slaves that left here and went back to Africa and started up a nation. So just praying about it and thinking about it, I'm like, Lord, like, where is my stand on this specific issue, you know? I knew it here, and I knew it here, but there just wasn't that push for me, you know? I'm like, well, where is it? And he began to just remind me that the people years ago didn't compromise. They were convinced that God was on the throne and that his standard should be upheld here because there was a horrible injustice going on that people were considered not human, right? Back then. But now there is a new generation of people that the very same thing's happening to. So he has set me apart. And now he's calling me back to the exact same nation to be a representative for him.
Hallelujah. Amen. Praise God.
That wasn't how I planned to go in my head, you know, and no, but
The Spirit of the Lord has anointed you. Good news to the captives.
yeah. So I'm very grateful. I am. It makes sense now, you know, it didn't, but had I not taken that step of obedience to at least answer the call, I would have missed out on this opportunity. You know, so I am very thankful for Crystal and very thankful for you guys. But most of all, I'm thankful for my wife. So there you go. All right. Okay. I just have to get her in there too. So just to make sure. Yes. But yeah, no, but I am very thankful that you guys have helped shift my view on this issue, because before that, the pro-life movement just seemed like the only option. So, you know, why not just support them, right? But I'm really thankful for that you guys pose as believers who believe God. And you guys are all modern day abolitionists, you know, and I am definitely on board. So I'm gonna need prayer, wisdom on how to deal with these legislation process, you know, advice on how to approach this, because I'm sure, you know, the enemy has ways that can seem nice and seem, you know, just definitely do not want to be deceived, you know. So let's go to the constitutional part of why this is really bad. I mean, we all know that God's standard and God's law is ultimate, but we have a generation of people who doesn't even care about God, but now they just don't care about our Constitution either. But we as believers, we know that, and we understand that this nation is founded on the biblical principles. And the foundation of our laws are all based on a phrase within our Constitution. And people within my class know this phrase.
Declaration of Independence.
Yep, the Declaration of Independence. There you go. Uh, it is the law of nature and nature's God. That is the foundation of every single law within this country. That is how we filter every single law in this country. That's how it should be. The law of nature and of nature's God is our conscience and God's law. That is what governs us. So you guys be encouraged that we have the law on our side, okay? It doesn't matter what anybody else believes. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, all right? We need to continue to fight, and we need to continue to be encouraged that we have the Lord first, but then we also have the law on our side. So now it's time for us to fight and to basically turn it back within our favor. So that's it.